United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Wednesday said that most restrictions deployed to fight the latest wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in England would be lifted from next week. People will no longer have to wear masks in closed spaces, work from home, and prove vaccination to enter public spaces such as nightclubs, Johnson told Parliament, attributing the changes to the success of a mass booster jab program. Because of the extraordinary booster campaign, we can return to Plan A in England and allow Plan B regulations to expire, Johnson said. Last month, England switched to Plan B in order to cope with what Johnson called a tidal wave of expected infections from the Omicron variant. But he had to fight his own party to get the changes into law, as Conservative Party colleagues called the restrictions a step too far and a curb to public freedoms. The relaxing of restrictions has been seen as a concession to critics angry at revelations that he and his staff broke COVID lockdown rules by holding parties at Downing Street, Johnson told MPs. While there are some places where cases are likely to continue rising, including in primary schools, our scientists believe it is likely that the Omicron wave has now peaked nationally. Secondary school pupils will no longer be required to wear face masks from Thursday, Johnson said, calling for the March 24th date for a review of self-isolation rules to be brought forward. After the Omicron variant emerged, Britain's daily caseload for COVID topped a record 2 lakh infections in early January, but has now dropped to less than half that. Johnson said there was, however, still significant pressure on the state-run National Health Service across the country and encouraged people to have a booster vaccination. We know that around 90% of people in intensive care are not boosted, Johnson said. Facing restive Tory backbenchers, the Prime Minister had rebuffed calls by some scientists to impose a full lockdown in December and allowed sporting events to continue with capacity crowds in England. The devolved governments of Scotland and Wales imposed bans on large crowds at sports fixtures last month, but have now lifted that rule in time for the Six Nations rugby tournament starting next month. Scotland on Tuesday said it was easing other coronavirus restrictions, allowing nightclubs to reopen and no longer requiring table service in bars. Guidance asking people to stick to a 3-year household limit on indoor gatherings will also be lifted, said Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. The Welsh government has said a decline in COVID cases in intensive care means it will scale down its alert level from 2 to 0 in coming weeks. News Desk, Kaumudy Global.